Greetings, all. This is Malik Assad Jafar, and today we're going to be going over something called cognitive dissonance. Let's get into
I'm the best, so do not test the top of my profession, the master of my chosen field. Of that there is no question.
it. Okay, so today's topic that we're going over is cognitive dissonance. And to try to simplify and break things down, basically what cognitive dissonance is, it is when a person has conflicting thoughts or beliefs in regards to a situation. Um, Now, what I would like to present is an approach that there's several different theories that people have utilized to manage when you have cognitive dissonance. So, let's say, for example, um, what is a good what's a good example of cognitive dissonance? Um, you're at work. Let's say, for example, you work for I was going to say the government. Let's say that or legal, or let's just say I don't care where you work at. You work at a particular job, and you, in your heart of hearts, believe that things should be executed a certain way at work. In fact, not only do you believe things should be executed a certain way at work, but based on the um, uh, SOP or the standard operating procedures that you've learned and you've been there for 2 years, you know that it requires you to do XYZ. Now you have a new person that's at the job that's probably younger than you, has been there less time, and they are your supervisor for whatever credentials they have. They're put in a position of authority over you, and they are not, whether they're not aware of the SOP or are, they believe that things should be handled a certain kind of way. And because they're your supervisor, they tell you, I don't want you to do XYZ. I want you to do ABC. And so now you're in a position that, okay, do I usurp authority and tell them these things because I know they don't like to be disrespected and they feel like anyone who goes against what they're saying is a problem? Or do I just do it the way that they're saying do it? Well, I choose to do it the way that they're saying do it. I choose to do it ABC. And I know in my heart of hearts it's supposed to be XYZ. But instead of saying anything about it, instead of doing anything about it, instead of addressing it, I start to have what is called cognitive dissonance. And so that can be displayed by my work ethics, my morale, my you name it. But it's not about that's not what I want to focus on. What I really want to focus on specifically is when a person has cognitive dissonance, what are you supposed to do to manage that? Well, typically, uh, theories promote, I mean, the word is cognitive dissonance. So theories promote that an individual is supposed to pay attention to their thinking patterns in regards to how they should address fill in the blank. Now, and don't get me wrong, that is example that I gave you is something that you can go beyond that if you want to. You can go to the supervisor and you can do this and you can do that. You can do a number of different things. So let me give you a better example. Let's say, for example, you have a relationship issue in regards to how you feel things are supposed to go between you and your partner. And you feel strongly about this, but you know that if you bring up this topic with your partner, that it is going to create issues, so much to the point that I don't even want to go there with them because I know it will be a problem. So instead, I stomach those feelings, I sit on those feelings, and I acquiesce and I operate in a way that goes against what my beliefs are. I mean, I could go on and on about these different examples, but I just want you to understand the point. Cognitive dissonance in most theories tell you to address the cognitions that a person has. Now, why is this important? Because the cognitions that a person has creates an emotional tension within them. I, Malakasada Jafar, believe a little bit differently. And what I believe is this. It goes back to my theory of how I address most issues. And that is, I'm not going to pay so much attention to the cognitions, because if I feel deeply, keyword feel, if I feel deeply about something in particular, and I am in a position to adhere to what's going on, and I change this belief and I change these cognitions, that's not going to change my feelings. So I will do so in duress. I will do so in such a way that is, I'm doing it, but I don't want to do it. And so I'm supposed to operate in a way until I start to feel differently. I'm supposed to think a different way until I start to feel differently. No, I say address the feelings, the emotional motivation as to where the problem is, and manage that first. So you manage that feeling that you've got going on that's creating the tension, and then you do one or two things. You find out, A, what am I going to do about it? Okay, if there's anything I can do about it. Or B, what emotion do I want to feel, and what do I need to think about to own that cognition? Okay. First thing, what am I going to do about it? Or is there anything I can do about it? Or two, what is the emotion I want to feel about this? And is there any cognitions that I can have about this circumstance that will help me feel the emotion that I want to feel? I find, because of how I operate, that I am much more apt to be successful when I address the feelings that I have that are potentially dysfunctional. I'm not saying that the feelings are wrong. I'm just saying that the feelings that I'm having don't match, or they are incongruent to my circumstances, and then I must do something different in order to be different and act different. So this is an approach that a person can use to address cognitive dissonance and within a certain circumstance or situation. And if there is a situation that you feel like where I'm having cognitive dissonance that I can't do that, my motto: get in contact with me. Let me know, and maybe we could work something out in regards to coping skills to help you address that issue. But again, I'll repeat it last time. What am I going to do about it? And is there anything I can do about it? Number one. And number two, what feelings do I want to feel about this circumstance? And is there any cognitions that I can have that will help me harness, enhance, motivate, promote, generate these emotions to move through this situation as efficiently and effectively as possible? Well, all right. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. The main thing that I want to convey about it is this. It's important to understand cognitive dissonance, but it's even more important to understand how to manage it. In life, you're going to have situations where things are not congruent, if you will, not on the same page, but it's a must. You know what I'm saying? As I know I use some examples, but you don't work, you don't eat. And so you might feel very strongly or have an emotional belief about filling the blank, but you being able to go out there and do that, it's going to have to, well, I'm going to make it big and I'm going to do such and such and I'm going to become famous and so on and so forth. Well, until you do that, if that's your cash cow, until you do that, you still have to make ends meet and you still have to do what needs to be done. So with that being the case, you are going to have mild versions of cognitive dissonance. And I use that as an example, but compared to what I was talking about before, that's very minimal. So in any event, I hope this helps. And again, if you have any questions, issues, concerns, or curious about how a very specific situation that you want to learn how to address, please feel free. Contact me, message me, send me a response via the YouTube or whatever the case is that you know how to get in contact with me. With that said, stay safe, be blessed. I'll see you next time. Peace. Bam.
I'm the best, so do not test the top of my profession, the master of my chosen field. Of that there is no question.